6 o'clock this morning, I got a text message from a homeboy who was basically telling me that he and his significant other of like 13 years got in a real bad argument and he's being kicked out. I got another homeboy last night voluntarily left his old lady and went back 2 counties over to his house, and they broke up. I don't want to say that I don't know what to say, but the truth is I know what to say. So this brings me back to 2007 when I was with my first baby mama, fiance, whatever you want to call her. We were driving down the road, Cowan-Lorraine Road in Biloxi. And we're driving from Biloxi to Gulfport, and we get in this huge argument. And I'm so sick of arguing, I'm just like, you know what, mother effer, let me out this vehicle right now. So she pulls up to the store, I get out, slam the door, she leaves. I'm in the middle of Biloxi now, off Seaway Road, way far from home. 22 years old, I ain't doing the math, but I'm in my early 20s. I don't feel like talking to nobody, I don't feel like being around nobody. So instead of going inside to take a piss, I walked around the back of the store to take a piss. It's something about me, I like to use the bathroom outside, not inside. Anyway, as I walk around the store, there's this man standing there. And he's standing on the curb behind the store, walking back and forth. So he lights a cigarette up, and at the time I smoked cigarettes, and I didn't have any because I left them in the car. And I asked him, hey man, you got a cigarette? And that's all it took. He proceeds me to hand the cigarette, and the first thing he says to me is, don't ever get married. He lights a cigarette for me, and he says some things that I'm not going to repeat. Then he begins to talk again to me, and we begin to both walk back and forth and pace back and forth. And come to find out, he got out of his car too and was leaving his wife of 20 years. And he was walking behind the store, pacing back and forth because he didn't want to be around nobody either. If this was a living definition of a divine appointment, it's this. So we're pacing back and forth at like midnight behind the Pure Country gas station in Biloxi, Mississippi, which is a blooming city. This is not in the middle of, this is in the middle of the city, way far away from my house, way probably far away from his apartment. And we were talking, and he was telling me, young man, don't you ever get married. Don't you trust none of these, blah, blah, blah. I guess from what he was talking about, and if I remember correctly, his wife had cheated on him, and he found out about it after 20 years of marriage. And there was so much that I felt like I wanted to say and get off my chest, and I just wanted to say, you know, how much I hated my old lady at the time, but I didn't get to say a word. Looking back now, I realize that was a good thing. This is a moment where I need to just shut up and take this in. Because me and her had been together almost maybe a little over a year. And this man had been married to his wife for 20 years. And he just caught her cheating. Then he begins to proceed all the shit that she'll lose. She'll lose the boat. They'll lose the house. They have 2 properties, the vehicles, the kids, the everything. They just go through all the stuff that comes out in a divorce. Only the lawyers win in a divorce, but all the stuff that comes out in the divorce, all the assets, he says, was in his name, and she's not getting shit, and she's, you know, not blah. I don't think it probably went that way. And here's the kicker. He owned a business that he started when they first got married. And he kept saying over and over again, smoking cigarette after cigarette after cigarette, walking back and forth, just pacing, just so pissed off he could chew bullets. She ain't getting shit. She ain't getting nothing. I'm taking everything from her. I'm walking with everything. She might get the kids, that's it, but she ain't getting shit from the business. She ain't getting nothing, blah, 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 blase, blase. And I sat back here and talked to this man, and it's just us, and it's dark, and it's dangerous, and it's hectic, and it's anger, and he was just severely pissed off. Out of nowhere. I walked back here to take a piss, and he was a nice dressed man. It was back when everybody used to wear Guy Harvey. He had a Guy Harvey shirt on, khaki shorts, Sperry shoes, open top siders. Really, you could tell he had money. White man, he had money, but he was pissed off. About that time, he calmed down and stopped talking, and I kid you not, just like clockwork, he stopped talking and he took a step back, and out of nowhere, my girlfriend, Marquita, pulls back up to the back of the store. How she knew I was in the back of the store, I have no idea, but she pulls up back in the store and opens the door and says, "Get your stupid ass in the car." I told the man, "Good luck, thank you for the cigarette." I got in the car and left. I'm very thankful for my daughter. I have her name tattooed on my chest so she could always be close to my heart. But she don't even call me, not even on Father's Day, because subconsciously she's been taught to hate me from her mother. And I'll be the first to admit I wasn't the greatest father, but I was forced to be the disciplinarian one because of her. So the night she pulled up and drove off, and I got back in that car, I didn't listen to a fucking thing that man said. Because if I did, God had put that man right there in front of me to show me this is what happens when you throw your youth away to the wrong person. Because when I got back in that car, I should have told her, "No, take me to my house, have a good life." But instead, we stayed together for 3.5 more years. I wound up in jail, wound up split up, having to pay child support. Now I have a daughter that hates me. When that man was spilling his life to a complete stranger, I should have took the sign that God was giving me, saying, "You need to leave. They don't change."
A metal spoon in the sink as the water goes deep. Bent from the use and it's spent from abuse. Copped a quarter pack blunt, quarterback runs. Get my quarterback, gotta come up on a sack. 17 smoking things you would never dream. Then I turn to things and the things turn to me. Needle in my arm now, tell me who to harm now. Bent from the use, that explains my abuse. Tell you about way when before I hit the state pen. Not